Hello and welcome to another edition of College Football on Air. I am your wonderful and handsome host, Carl Moglan. Well, this has been an interesting week. Last week may have been the best week of college football yet. I gotta say, I got some big shoutouts to go, but those are for later. First, we gotta talk about our favorite stuff, social stuff. Here at College Football on Air, you can find us on Facebook on College Football on Air. Just look it up. It works really well. And we have less likes than Rookies Roundup. It's like, you know, they like sister cities. We are like sister shows with them, mainly because T spends a lot of time here. Jake does like his College Football on Air stuff. All right. Also, find me personally at Carl_PM on Twitter. It is with a K. If you spell it with a C, I will be very, very unhappy. Also, go to Twitter to find, National Sports. They're there on Twitter. At National Sports 1. Yay. Also, for all you hipsters out there, trademark Jake Liger, you can find National Sports on Instagram at national_sports. As well as on Facebook. Just look up National Sports. It'll take you there. They are the National Sports Network there. Alright, I think that covers all our random social stuff. But now it is time to introduce my favorite Jewish person from LA who makes lots of puns on the National Sports Network, who also happens to host a show about the NFL and makes genius predictions. It is my favorite, well, not my favorite person in the world, but my favorite Jewish. We've been over this. It is the NFL guru like no other. He is a UCLA Bruin fan, but he's gonna be very disappointed this next week. It is Jake Liker.
Thank you. When you said that I was one of your favorite people and gave all that criteria, it's like when your parent tells an only child that they're their favorite. Not really sure how to feel. Do you like me because I'm cool, or do you like me because you have nobody else to like? I don't know, but I'm gonna take it.
Well, that's probably a good thing, because you don't get that a lot. Alright, we are gonna... I know, I take my digs. Sorry, man. Alright, I'm so happy. Oh, wait, okay, before we get to last week, we have to talk about Grambling State. Because this is a very, very major issue. Grambling State, of course, they had the big boycott ending in missing the game at Jackson State, forfeiting that game. But now they have ended their boycott, and basically, yeah, they ended their boycott, and multiple things are getting. Jake, would you like to comment on this?
Again, shout out to the football players of Grambling State for taking a stand, fight the power. Down with the institution, I don't know, but I am very happy for these Grambling State players to take a stand, because they're not just doing themselves a favor, but they're doing a favor for the future generations that decide to enroll at Grambling State. They took a stand, and you know what? I think we could be seeing a ripple effect throughout college football and other teams who feel like they're not being treated right. And so Grambling State might have... This could be the first to come, so shout out to them for sure.
Alright, I am sorry about the somewhat sketchy quality we are having on this call with Jake Liker. It's just a little bit of overload on the internet currently, but also I do want to remind you, if you have any questions for us, go to the comment box in the lower right-hand corner and comment your questions, because we will answer them thoughtfully and considerably. Also, if you post a question on the Facebook page, I will answer that. And that is what I have to say about that. So now we're actually going to talk... Oh, wait, I have a couple more things. Alright. There is a player. His name is Vinny Sunseri. He's the brother of Pitt's old quarterback, but that's not the point. He's the Alabama starting strong safety, and he is going to have surgery on his knee Tuesday and will miss the remainder of his season. That is one random piece of news. Also, the NCAA will unveil its findings tomorrow on its investigation into Miami's athletics, and they were going to propose their sanctions after their long probe of the Miami investigations.
Can I just say something about that? Am I allowed to?
Yeah, I let you talk. You have freedom of speech. This may or may not be America.
You know, I don't need your sass, but I do need your permission to speak. It's your show. So, let's just talk about how messed up this investigation is. If Miami ends up getting suspended, it would be pretty shameful. Because the NCAA admitted that their investigation was done wrongfully, and they did not follow protocols and whatnot. And they're saying, so the information we found is going to be disregarded. But they're still going to continue the investigation. That's like if the cops were looking for a murder, and they killed a man to find the gun that was used with the DNA on it, and said, okay, so here's the deal, we're not allowed to kill anybody, so we can't use the gun, but we're still going to keep looking for the killers if we don't know who it is. Guys, it's not the way it works. If Miami ends up getting suspended, it will be really wrong, because Miami didn't give them any reason to be investigated in the first place. Either that, or when they were investigated, it was done way too harshly and did not follow protocol. If the NCAA makes rules, they should follow them. Otherwise, nobody has to.
I have to bring up one point. You're bringing up this NCAA wrongful investigation, but you have to remember what these problems were. Do you remember the original report brought out by Yahoo Sports?
Yahoo Sports came out with a big report? Wow.
Yeah, Yahoo Sports got the major interview. Alright, stop making... We're not gonna make digs at Yahoo Sports on this show. Alright. That's for another show. That's on your show. This is my show. I use Yahoo Sports a little too much, actually.
You know what my show is? It's Rookies Roundup. So before we continue any further, check out Rookies Roundup. As soon as Carl said that we need more... Carl's telling me it's his turn, but apparently this may or may not be America, and I have freedom of speech, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. As soon as he told you guys that he needs more likes than I did, our likes skyrocketed to 24. We had a hilarious episode this past week. If you're into Brock Osweiler's neck, check it out. If you're not, still check it out, because we laughed about some pretty random stuff, but they all connect to sports in one way or another. I don't have a Twitter, and there's no odd spelling of my name, so I don't need to threaten you guys to spell my name correctly. So, Carl, what do you want to say about Miami?
I just wanted to say that the actual things that they did are ridiculous. The amount of things. Did you actually look at the report? The things they did, the money that was spent. You know, you were talking about how they had bought, I believe it was the prostitutes at Oklahoma State?
Yes.
They had strippers coming in at Miami.
Well, it's Miami again. Like, they could have gone a block away. It's so nuts.
Still, the way they were doing
this... Let's face it, Miami. You guys are kind of one giant nightclub.
Alright, I'm going to talk about... Normally I wouldn't talk about this, but the weekly leaders from last year, because I find these interesting. One, Sean Mannion, if they had... Oregon State. If they had not lost to Eastern Washington, they would be a top 10 team right now, with Sean Mannion, one of the top Heisman contenders. Now they're 25th ranked. Sean Mannion is not even being considered, it seems, even though he leads the nation with, I believe it's 25 passing touchdowns, although that could be up to 29. Depending on, yeah, I think it may be up to 20. He threw for 481 yards last week against Cal. Then my personal, actually, we'll go to my second, not my favorite, but, you know, I'm sorry, but this is just getting ridiculous. Jeremy Gallon of Michigan caught 14 balls for 369 yards. This is a receiver, people. He also had 2 touchdowns in that. 369 yards. That is ridiculous. And then this is my personal favorite. This is one of my favorite players in college football. He is on Northern Illinois. His name is Jordan Lynch. 32 carries for 316 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. 316 yards rushing. And he's a quarterback. Jake, can you explain how ridiculous 316 yards rushing is for a quarterback?
It's pretty ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's as ridiculous as LeBron James trying to play a game in the NFL.
Oh, and the LeBron digs start. All right.
LeBron, stick to basketball. Come on, that's your thing. And already people don't like it when you play basketball. Why would you try and ruin a sport?
Oh, and yeah. We are going to move on to things that actually happened last week, starting with Thursday. Because Miami cut it a little bit too close with North Carolina, only winning 27-23, and they were down for much of the game, including being down 17-13 at half and 16-13 going into the fourth quarter before Miami pulled it out. And Jake Liker has some opinions about what he thinks of North Carolina.
North Carolina's been impressive this year. I'm not gonna lie, Dave. North Carolina and Duke, the two schools that were supposed to be all basketball, their football teams have gotten somewhat mediocre, which is a pretty big step. Duke, I'm aware that Duke may not be having the greatest season this year, but last year they did make it to a bowl game.
I think a round of applause is necessary for Duke's football team. Just like
I refuse to applause for Duke. The only team I hate more than Duke men's basketball is Duke lacrosse.
Why do you hate Duke lacrosse?
You don't remember? Do I need to remind you, Scandal? Look up Duke lacrosse.
No, I know, but there's a lot of other programs that are worse than Duke lacrosse.
No, but it's Duke, so it makes it worse.
So wait, so you're saying you hate Duke lacrosse more than you hate Ole Miss?
That's tough. That's tough, man. You know, wow. For a guy's last name is Liker, I tend to be a hater when it comes to this stuff. I'm sorry, that pun was too easy. But North Carolina's putting up a great fight against good teams, so I'm impressed with them. Tough loss to swallow, yes, but still impressive.
Jake, the guy who thinks 1-5 is mediocre. Moving on.
Wait, what?
UNC is 1-5 and 0-3 in the ACC.
Wow, I'm sorry. They seem like they're putting up better fights and whatnot. I'm sorry that forget what I said, North Carolina. You are still struggling. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm mixing them up from last year. I'm sorry. If we're gonna talk about college football, don't expect me to know about ACC.
I won't, and I'm gonna hold that against you later. Then we move to the.
Except for Florida State and Clemson and Miami, you know.
Actually, I would start talking about the Friday night game with Louisville and UCF, but we covered that last Friday, didn't we? Because UCF beat Louisville, and I would have told you so if we had a preview show for this.
Oh yeah.
That was fun. All right, now we're gonna go through the very abbreviated version of looking at last week. Jordan Lynch went crazy. Wisconsin crushed Illinois. Oklahoma State had a very impressive win over TCU. TCU may not make a bowl game. That's big news. Arizona State. The game that I was most shocked by. Arizona State pummeling Washington by 29 points. And yes, that is the correct term, pummeling is. Jake, what has happened to the Pac-12 in Washington and Arizona State? This is not supposed to happen.
The Pac-12, you know, the Pac-12 South is looking couldn't be. No. I'm sorry, let me gather my thoughts here. The Pac-12 North is better than the Pac-12 South, as we expected all along. Arizona State, however, seems to be that exact. Arizona State, it's got to be very painful to be a fan of the Sun Devils, especially when it comes to college football, because they're a little like the Chargers. A great beginning to the season, they always find a way to screw it up in the end. And so right now they are on pace, but still that's a big win over Washington, and maybe, just maybe, they'll keep that momentum long enough to last them later this season.
I want to see. All right, here's the deal with Arizona State. The Pac-12 South race is very wide open, and we're gonna have to talk about that later.
It's wide open.
No, I want to tell you. I'll tell you why it's wide open later, but we're not to that point yet.
Okay.
Later on College Football on Air, we talk about why the Pac-12 South is wide open, and Jake disagrees with me.
Not wide open.
All right, moving on. Oklahoma had odd struggles with Kansas, down 13-0, but then they came back and scored, 34 on them. So, Fresno State beat UNLV by a good amount. Don't really care. Texas Tech came back in the fourth quarter to beat West Virginia, who's another team that surprisingly may not make a bowl this year. At 3-4 in the Big 12, that's going to be a close one. Then you have, now we get to a game we can actually talk about. Vanderbilt had an inspiring performance, putting up 17 points in the fourth quarter to take down the previously 15th ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Also, Georgia now has lost 2 SEC games and have now lost 3 games in total. Oh my. Aaron Murray was unimpressive at best in this game, but the most impressive part of this game was a really, really nice performance in the fourth quarter by Vanderbilt. 17 points unanswered in this fourth quarter. They were down 27-14 going in to the quarter, and then they came, and well, they looked really good. Then you also have the fact that neither quarterback got going whatsoever, especially my biggest disappointment, Aaron Murray, 16 for 28, 114 yards, and an interception for QBR, only 48.6. Top running back, they did have Brendan Douglas rush for 84 yards, but that wasn't worth a lot. And on the other side, there was no big offensive performances by Vanderbilt. So it was really just a game of it was a game of like a team performance. I don't know. But neither team did great. But alright, I am having some technical difficulties. Jake call just dropped. We are re-answering. Now, with that, he did have a drop call. Jake, are you back with us? Jake, you good? Alright, we are having some serious technical difficulties. As we continue to work this out, we're just going to keep talking, and you may hear some Skype noises coming in and out. We are trying to fix these as we speak. Jake, are you back?
I'm never gone. I'm an eternal spirit.
Good to know. Alright, we are continuing. We're kind of talking about the disappointing performances of especially Aaron Murray. 48.6 QBR in this game, only 114 yards passing and an INT, no touchdowns for him. What happened to the big man in Athens?
I can't really put all this blame on Aaron Murray. I think that there certainly seems to be a lack of production when it comes to the running game. They're really missing Todd Gurley, and it is showing big time.
Yeah.
Because Gurley's been gone for 3 weeks now, and they've lost 2 in a row. I mean, there is no excuse for giving up 17 points in a row to Vanderbilt. That's really the only feasible explanation I can think of.
Well, and they're missing a bunch of top receivers as well on this team. It's just kind of I wouldn't call it a butchered team, but they're definitely looking like they've been sliced up. Alright. We are continuing our ongoing coverage of last week, because we care about last week, and I kind of wish this was slower. I do like to keep these shows nice and short and sweet, so you can watch the whole show. But, sometimes we gotta talk about good games, and good games there were. The next wonderful game we had in this week was 14 Missouri, who is now 7-0, beating now 4-3 and previously ranked 22nd Florida, 17-36. Missouri coming out on top. It was never really Florida's game. Missouri controlling the ball, up 13 at half, and they never lost the lead. Oh, actually, never. They did losing lead. Excuse me. They did strongly. I'm just gonna say that. Then my favorite part of the night, I guess day. The Baylor Bears, ranked 12th, now higher. That's later. They finally scored 69 again. They scored 71 points to Iowa State 7. Jake, how excited are you that Baylor scored 71 points?
Not excited because I like Iowa State and I really feel for them. So unhappy. Normally I like it when Baylor pours it on, but not against the Cyclones. They gotta have some mercy here, but no, Bears gotta do what Bears gotta do. Clearly, this was a good defensive performance from Baylor, something I never thought I'd be saying. Richardson was held to just 68 yards through the air. Wimberly was held to just 21 yards on the ground. You know what? This was a good defensive performance from Baylor. If they play like this every week, this could be a really dangerous team.
I completely agree, and we're gonna do a news segment later on where we're gonna talk about all the conference races as we are moving into some of the last weeks of the season. It's time to talk about the conference races as we get into full conference play and all of that. Less non-conference action. It's all about that conference games. And a big conference game as the University of Southern Carolina lost to Tennessee. This is a very interesting loss. I have to bring this. We can go talk about the game later, but I need to talk about one thing first. South Carolina was ranked 11th in the country. This is a Tennessee team that lost by 45 to Oregon. Okay, I'm done. Now we can actually talk about this game. Just had to bring that up. Alrighty then. It's hard to... Justin Worley. I'm not sure if I want to say he did a good performance because he wasn't that outstanding, but he was good enough, I'll say. He threw only 179 yards, but he had no interceptions and a touchdown. He took care of the football. That is very, very key. When you look at this game, the only two turnovers were both by South Carolina. As Jake says constantly on Rookies Roundup, turnovers are one of the key stats in this game, and I just gotta say that. But the biggest thing was a last-second field goal, a 19-yarder by Michael Pilardi. It was just straight down the middle. No doubter on that one to pull out the win over South Carolina. Big win for this team. Jake, your thoughts? I really don't care on what. Just tell me something about this game.
Tennessee is demanding respect. The SEC East has been turned on its head. And by the way, what a catch in this game.
Oh my goodness, yes it was.
This was an NFL caliber catch. What we saw from Tennessee freshman wide receiver Marquez North. But it was also noticeable to see the long-term effects, or what could be long-term effects, for South Carolina's Connor Shaw went down. So they missed their quarterback. But everyone in the SEC East has proven that, you know what, they can compete and they're not to be overlooked.
Yeah, we're gonna go talk about most conferences later. Sadly enough, to all 7 Sunbelt fans out there, I will not be talking about the Sunbelt later. Sorry, just had to throw that out there. Sunbelt's not a very good conference this year. Actually, they're never a really good conference. I will be talking about the MAC though, because I love MACtion, but that's not the point. You've never heard MACtion? It's because
I like that.
It's a pretty common term. MAC football is very exciting, fast-paced, that type of stuff. It's fun. It's fun stuff.
Grambling State, can we call that swaction? When you decide
Swaction.
to games.
Can we instead call it swagtion? Swaction? Swagtion? I don't know.
Swaction.
Yeah, that seems legit. I'll allow it.
I will allow it.
I'll allow it. Yeah, it's a good term. Alright, now, Jake, if you need a moment to cry, I'll allow it. UCLA lost 24-10. I watched this game, but someone who is paying closer attention than maybe anyone in the world, Jake Lecker, talk to me.
This was a frustrating game because we didn't seem to really ever have the chance. First of all, you cannot defect the touchdown catch we saw from Stanford. There's no way. That is a highlight reel play. We guys are making acrobatic catches like that, it's very demoralizing for the opposing team. You only think about how pumped the guy who caught it is, and for the offensive team. I finally got to put myself in the shoes of the guys on defense, and that's really frustrating because you feel pretty helpless. Because there was great coverage on that play, but you have that Superman sort of catch, and there's nothing much you can do about it. But even without that, I don't think we had a chance. We were beat at the line on both sides of the ball, especially on defense. They ran all over us. Every single time. You watched the last 5 minutes of that game, and it told you all you need to know. On offense, Hundley had no time to throw the ball. Well, he had time, but it was clearly not enough. He was feeling the pressure, and he got a little bit paranoid, which is why he was, didn't have the greatest day. And then for Stanford, Gaffney had such a great push from the offensive line. It came to the point where the Bruins knew they were going to run the ball and tried to blitz, and it still didn't matter because the size and strength of that offensive line for Stanford was too much. Also, big problem for the Bruins. The offensive line injuries are showing, but our center struggled. We saw low snap after low snap all over the place. It was frustrating when it was a struggle to get the ball to Hundley. It was a disheartening game, to be honest. And I wish Stanford had taken a knee toward the end because it would have looked nicer if it was 17-10. It was only a 2-touchdown game, but I gotta tell you, it felt like a lot more.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it almost was a 1-touchdown game, but it felt like so much more. I mean, you look at that first half especially. It was only 3-1 after the first half. Yet, could you not say that Stanford looked pretty dominant? Like, you knew Stanford had complete control of that game after one half, right?
We were lucky to have it that close. They were just better than us on the line. It was as simple as that.
Well, saying it best, a true Bruin at heart, taking that loss. Like a Jake Liker.
Like a champ, an 109-time champ.
Oh, and we have the national championship references. See, whenever a UCLA fan feels down, they just show pictures of their trophy case.
Well, we have a lot of trophies. Why not take pictures of them? It's the one time I'll sympathize with a Yankee fan when they say 27 rings.
Wow. Actually, I don't believe in sympathizing with Yankee fans. It's against my made-up sports religion.
Don't sympathize against them. You know what I mean. I understand where they are coming from. I empathize.
Empathize. Better word. Good use of your vernacular.
The vernacular has returned.
Good. I love your vernacular. Alright, we're moving on, because we're actually spending way too much time talking about this. I gotta say, we are in 27 minutes now, and we're talking way too much about this stuff. So let's go speed mode. Alrighty then. I hate not to talk more about this game, but Auburn won 45-41 in a shootout against Texas A&M. Johnny Manziel has been beaten for a second time this season. Jake, how happy were you that Johnny Manziel lost?
Was pumped. I was so happy that Johnny Manziel lost. It was great, but I have some bad news. We may have a new Johnny football on the rise, and I am on not quite red alert, but getting there. This guy started one game for a number 5 team in the country, and you look into his past, it's certainly interesting. Matty Mock spelled like maybe Mauk from Missouri. Might just be the next Johnny Manziel. This guy got arrested after trying to flee a crime scene from police on a scooter. But again, way off topic. I'm just saying,
yeah, we already talked about Missouri.
Johnny Manziel has fallen, but he may just be expendable, which excites me because this could be the end of Johnny football. It's obviously not, but it would be cool if it was.
Well, the Lakers got a little bit of hate. Alright, moving on to another team Jake disrespects completely. Ole Miss won 27-24 over LSU. Oh my. Oh wow. Oh, bye-bye. Ole Miss up 10-0 at half. Even until this is a 3-point win, and they beat them on a late field goal. But this whole game, it really did feel like Ole Miss had control over this LSU Tigers team. You just gotta look into the stats. They outgained them. by over 130 yards. Yep, over 130. They outgained 137 yards. They had complete control of this game, it seemed. 349 yards in the air, only 274 on the other side. And then you look, but the biggest stat, and a stat I will come back to as much as I can, Zach Mettenberger threw 3 interceptions today. And I cannot emphasize how key these turnovers are. Turnovers kill teams, especially in close games. A 3-point game. One of those turnovers isn't thrown. Two of those picks aren't thrown. That's not a win for Ole Miss. That's a win for LSU. And I don't want to pin this on Mettenberger, but those picks, those decision makings, it kind of makes me think we may have last year's Mettenberger still. And this is me who I came really close to picking Mettenberger over Aaron Murray a couple weeks ago. I mean, but the way Mettenberger played just was uninspired. Jake, talk to me.
First of all, I learned something very important from Ole Miss. 2 words I never thought I'd say in my life, but when Ole Miss came away with that win, 2 words, hotty toddy. You know what hotty toddy is, Carl?
I'd rather not.
You don't know what hotty toddy is?
No, I probably do actually. I just have so much.
That's how they roll in Ole Miss. You think Roll Tide is cool? No. Hotty toddy.
I really don't think Roll Tide is cool, but that's a different point.
Oh, right, because you and your Oregon and whatnot. The fact that Oregon's selling Bring On Bama shirts is really sad because they'd be lucky to get there. But
whoa,
sorry, I'll save those shots for later. But
good, we have them in a good place for later. All right, go.
I don't think we have the Mettenberger from last year. I think he's growing, and you know what? This guy, I could see him playing on Sundays. I feel like there was potential in this kid. He's still raw, but it's there. But Ole Miss is proving themselves. Like, again, the SEC, it's time to expect the unexpected when it comes to the SEC.
And you couldn't say that a couple years ago when it was just Alabama, LSU. This was before Texas A&M and Missouri were there. It just seemed like every year you knew what was going to happen. The top teams kept losing to each other once in a while. But it just kind of seemed predictable. And this year's proving the exact opposite. And an unpredictable game, Ohio State, Iowa. Iowa and Ohio State trading shots throughout this game. Iowa was leading at half, but Ohio State pulled out the win, 34-24. I'm not going to talk more about that game. Personally, Iowa was pretty good, and this is Ohio State. I'm saying this is your last warning. You know, you're when you do this against Iowa, how do you expect to beat a good team, really? Because Iowa is not incredibly strong. All right, moving on to a much more important game. Florida State, in a word, whooped Clemson. They won this game by a massive 37 points. This is a game we both picked Clemson in. Mainly because of I personally picked them because of the inexperience of Jameis Winston. And wow, was I proven wrong. 444 yards and 3 touchdowns from the man compared to Taj Boyd only throwing for 156 and 2 picks before coming out of that game. Altogether, Jameis Winston blew me away with his performance today. Or not for today, Saturday. Jake.
Yes.
I know Jameis. I've talked about Jameis Winston. Talk about another player who you think made a huge difference in this game.
Really? It's like saying, I don't know, who made a really big difference in the conquering of the French, other than Napoleon Dynamite? This was the Jameis Winston show. I'm sorry. I know it seems repetitive, but it deserves to be repetitive. He came through in a big way, and he really changed my impression of Florida State. I thought this was Clemson's game to lose, and they started to list it. And I think, Howard's Rock may not have the magic that we thought it did.
Probably because it was vandalized. But we're not.
It was what?
You missed in the summer when it was vandalized?
It was vandalized.
You missed that?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't keep up on my rock news.
You just... As Jake made shots at Yahoo Sports earlier. I'll just say, the way I keep up on college sports... Jake?
Yes?
That was like in the summer.
I don't... Okay, and...
I follow college football because I go through and read the Yahoo Sports blog on college football. Sorry. We're gonna move on because Jake's just gonna make some
No,
reference.
I have to talk about James Winston.
You already did talk about James
2 for
Winston.
34, 444 yards. Keep in mind, this is in Clemson. This was 51 to 14. I don't think any of us saw this coming. So, I was very impressed, and I think the sky's the limit for Winston.
Okay, that's your time. Now we're gonna move on to our most... I don't even know what to call it segment. Feisty, sassy segment, definitely.
No, not sassy.
I bring in the sass boy. Let's go. Alrighty then. We have an extra poll to talk about because we have to talk. An extra poll. We have to talk about the BCS. But alright, let's talk about the US Day Today poll, the coaches poll, because that actually is included in the BCS. So, stuff happens. Lots of stuff happens. And the issue with this type of week is there's a lot of voters that are disgruntled. I wouldn't think disgruntled is the wrong word. They're kind of all over the place. So there's some interesting rankings in here because every voter has different opinions, yada yada yada.
Carl, you and your home state of Oregon are the only ones disgruntled by this. Florida State,
Hey, I'm not even in the BCS, dude. I'm in the USA Today poll.
The USA, who would not put Florida State at number 2?
The coaches, the AP, the Harris poll, ESPN Power Rankings. Do I need to name more?
Stop. Okay, if I hear the words power rankings as evidence, I am losing respect for you.
Dude, alright, the USA Today poll and the AP poll, as well as the Harris poll, all agree with me on this one.
But the mothership computer that is the BCS is...
Are you saying... Jake, you are the...
the Harris National Championship? Is it called the USA Today National Championship? No, the BCS National
Jake, are you honestly saying that you think the BCS is the best system?
Oh no, the BCS is horrible. But in terms of polls, the BCS is the mothership of all the polls.
Hey, we're talking about the other polls because they're the ones that are actually, good. Alright.
No. They're only good when Oregon's ranked higher than in the BCS.
Hey, alright, let's talk.
If Oregon's number 2 and the rest of them are ranked at number 3, then what?
Dude, I will say what's true. Deal with it. Alright, we're gonna talk about other polls because we do that. Lots of shuffling. Clemson dropped to 10 in the USA Today coaches poll. Texas Tech is 7-0 and moved up to 9. Stanford 6-1 is at 8. Missouri, surprising 7-0, is at 7. Miami of Florida is 6-0 and ranked 6th. Baylor 6-0, ranked 5th. Miami. I already talked about Miami. Ohio State 7-0, ranked 4th. Florida State 3-0, ranked. Not 3-0, 6-0. I need to learn how to talk. 6-0, ranked 3rd. Oregon 7-0, ranked 2nd. Alabama 7-0, ranked 1st. A similar poll in the AP, but a little bit of changes because Texas Tech is the 10th team there. Clemson 9, Stanford 8, 7, Miami 6, Baylor 5, Missouri 4, Ohio State 3, Florida State, and 2, Oregon. And, of course, Bama on top. Now we move to the BCS. I want to talk about these precious BCS ranking years. My personal favorite one. Do you know who the rankings Jeff Sagarin? Sagarin. It's pretty well respected computer poll. It's one of the computers in there. I just want to ask you, do you think that Oregon State is the 6th best team in the country?
What?
Oregon State is ranked 6th in one of the BCS computers.
That is, I am activating Stephen A mode right now. That's blasphemous. That is asinine. And what's his other word that he uses? Asinine. I believe it's something like acetate. I don't know. That's ridiculous. That is so disrespectful. To put Oregon State at number 6.
Oh, I should note that above them, Northern Illinois is ranked 5th in that one. Yeah.
Who?
Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois is actually ranked 18th overall.
I'm assuming Texas Tech is number 1.
Actually, no, it's your precious Florida State Seminoles.
What is this? What world are we living in when strength of schedule is given more thought and value for an ACC team than an SEC team?
Computer polls.
No, poll.
Computers, then. Computer rankings.
Clearly outrigger with Manziel. And
No, that was a computer ranking, though. Those are computer rankings, Jake. These are things put into computers.
He was drunk when he designed his Excel spreadsheet or whatever he uses, because Northern Illinois. Let me tell you something about Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois barely escaped against the Zips. The Akron Zips. Where do I begin? I don't care how much potential Mannion is. I don't care if Eastern Washington has a cool red field and is a really good team in the FCS. They're in the FCS. There is no way in God's green earth that Oregon State belongs at number 6 in any poll. I'm still not entirely convinced that they belong in the top 20. So don't even think about talking about single digits, because that means that there are other undefeated teams that are not getting included there.
Jake, thank you for making.
Give me the whole rankings for that. Who is he ranked lower than Oregon State?
It's not listed, which means this is very annoying. But let's just go with the 7th best team of his is Virginia Tech.
What is the name of this poll?
This is it's the rankings by Jeff Sagarin. Jeff is normally spelled, and Sagarin Sagarin.
Oh no, Jeff. No, I like this guy. I love his stuff for college basketball.
Yeah, and you think he's a great pollster. I should note other teams. A team he puts Stanford. He has as 15th.
I'm fine with that. Apparently.
No, Stanford. He has as 15th. But do you really think that Northern Illinois? Yeah. Here's your issue. We're talking about the BCS, but this just shows how flawed the system is. Let's actually talk about these rankings.
What are you talking about? No. Dude, you are looking at the wrong stuff.
No, do you want to go to ESPN.com and check the full BCS spreadsheet?
I am looking right now at the Sagarin polls, which he always publishes on USA Today. I promise you this, I've been using them for a while. The formula he uses is called Pure ELO.
No, but the Pure ELO rating is not the one he's using for this.
I'm telling you right now, what I'm looking at says that what? Arizona State at 9?
Ooh, so you're being spicy now. Jake, we have to move on. You cannot keep ranting about this.
This is a problem. I'm sorry. But to be honest, I don't know if I should be ranting about this because I don't see Oregon State here.
Yeah, but they are. And it's according to ESPN. Just follow the ESPN poll, okay? Do you really distrust that ESPN has them right?
29th. Faith has been restored in Mr. Sagarin. I apologize to you.
Dude, he has them ranked. In the rankings he gave to the BCS, he has Oregon State 6.
Send me the link to this guy.
I don't know where the link. I'm just using the basic ESPN link. Here, I'll send you this link, but you can get to this. You don't even need the link. This is outrageous, Jake. Outrageous that you don't believe me.
No, it's not that I don't believe you. I'm saying that you are getting this wrong.
I'm not. That's the thing he has. You can go over. He is, I believe, he is the second to the right of the computer rankings. I should note, I can go into these rankings all day. Of course, I know you'll hate the poll There's one of the computers, Richard Billingsley. He's one of my. He's got some interesting ones. He's got Miami of Florida at 21st, and that is compared to Oklahoma at 8, and UCF at 13. So yeah, these computer polls are pretty messed up. We can agree on that at least, right? That some of these computer rankings are ridiculous.
I think that ESPN has made a mistake because I'm looking at the copyright.
Jake, it's time to move on. We're looking at the BCS poll.
Mr. Sagard is a very smart man. I know that from my hours of March Madness studying a year. I can tell you this. He is a smart guy, and he would not dare put Oregon State.
But he's not putting them there. He is the computer formula that puts it there.
But, okay, then the computer's messing it up. But he thinks that Oregon State is number 29. Well, I just want to make that abundantly clear.
Yeah, I'm not saying where he thinks they are. I'm saying where the computer ranking he has put in is there. All right, we're gonna move on a little bit. Here, you want to know what I'm gonna talk to you about? Your Florida State, how you were talking about. Let's go over their. They are the top-rated team by the computers. Florida State is the top-rated team by 3 of the 5 different computers that is used. In contrast, Alabama is only first of the 6. So they are half of them. As well as Missouri is number 1 in one of the computers. I don't get it either. But let's actually look at the top 10. You got Texas Tech, who's undefeated. Then you have a team with 1 loss in Clemson. Baylor and Miami. Baylor's 8, Miami's 7. They both are undefeated. Then you get 6 Stanford. Now we move into the top 5. Missouri is 5th. They are 6th in the Harris poll, 7th in the US Today poll, but a 3rd ranking in the computer average bumps them up supremely. They have a 0.8219 rating. To those of you, that doesn't mean a lot, but it's kind of ridiculous. And you have Ohio State at 4, and now we get the interesting point. Even though the Harris poll and the USA Today poll both ranked Oregon number 2, the computer ranking of number 4 for Oregon and Florida State's number 1 average ranking, the top computer ranking, put Florida State above Oregon. But I should note, this is by 28 10,000 of the average. This is less than. It's a very small margin. After they beat UCLA, Oregon will most likely jump them. I should note that. Just throwing that out there. Oregon will probably jump Florida State. Like, if Oregon and Alabama both win out, Oregon and Alabama will play in the national championship. That's just a fact. And you can check that with other sources. So now we're going to move into me and Jake ranking them. Because otherwise we're just going to argue about computer rankings all day. Jake...
Wait, one last thing, because I owe you an apology.
This has got to be under a minute, though.
This is going to be under 10 seconds. I'm looking at this, and it turns out that the BCS only uses the pure ELO. It doesn't take into account the predictor and the home advantage that Sagard puts in. So technically, using the raw ELO, indeed, Oregon State would be number 6. So I just want to clear your name there. I apologize, but Sagard is still clearly a smart guy. It's the computer that takes the raw floor.
Alright, I can accept that. I like getting apologized to. Because now you're going to bash my head in when I give my top 5.
Oh, yes. This is fun.
Okay, this is a really hard top 5. You got to agree with me on that one, right? Like, it's a hard top 5 to rate. You agree with me on that?
Yep, somewhat difficult, yes.
Now, there's a couple dilemmas in here. Personally, I've got a little bit of issue with where Missouri is. Missouri being number 5, I feel like that's stretching. So I honestly I like a ranking very similar to what the USA Today poll has, but it's not exactly on the margin. I like Ohio State. I'm putting Ohio State in as 5th. I have Baylor number 4, so those teams are flipped. Then I have Florida State as number 3. And then, of course, I have the same ranking that I always do. Alabama is number 2 and Oregon's number 1. Before you rebut that, give me your rankings.
I am about to say a sentence that never imagined I would say. The BCS got it right.
No.
Would not change a thing. Missouri's deserving of number 5. Ohio State at 4, Oregon 3, Florida State 2, and Alabama 1. They got it right. I can't believe it. It's a miracle. But indeed, they hit the nose on the head, or you know what I mean. I like what they've done here, and I think Florida State is absolutely deserving of that number 2 ranking.
Do you also think that Missouri is completely deserving of the number 5 ranking?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Alright, Jake, I'm going to use a pure source I have. Alright. There was, I believe, a conversation we had a couple days ago. And I'm just going to go find that one out. I believe it was the conversation we had on Sunday.
I know what I said. You don't have to quote me. I will quote
Oh, yeah, I remember it actually.
In a week or 2, Oregon will be number 2.
No, that was actually not what I meant to say. It was I cannot believe Mizzou is 5. You said you could not believe it. And now you're putting them there?
I can't believe that the BCS got it right. I was surprised they let them jump that far.
That's not true, but okay.
What do you mean that's not true? You look at it.
Yeah, I saw it, but it's I was about to say the same thing because Missouri does not deserve to be 5. Okay. We're gonna talk about some stuff for next week. I'm gonna talk very limitedly about next week, alright? You can accept that? Actually, you have to accept it. It's my show. We're gonna talk very limitedly about next week. Just a couple.
No. Wait, so I don't get to bash you in about why you're completely wrong for putting Oregon number 1 and not considering Florida State to be higher than Oregon? That was like my number 1 thing to talk about on the show.
But fine. Okay, you get 30 seconds starting now.
Oregon, the best team Oregon beat was Washington. Florida State has proven to be unstoppable this year, and they're coming off a huge win against Clemson, who was at the time ranked 3rd in the nation in Clemson, and have not lost a game. Winston has looked practically unstoppable, and it is shameful and ignorant of anybody to put Oregon above them.
Jake Laker continuing the hate. We're moving on to next week.
It's the truth.
Alright. Personally, I don't love getting called ignorant. That's just a thing.
No, you're not ignorant. It is an ignorant choice. You're not an ignorant person. Anybody who thinks that is not ignorant, I believe that it would be an ignorant decision to make, just to clear that up so I don't get hate mail from an angry mob of... How many people like your Facebook page?
I don't know, like 7?
An angry mob of 7. You know what? I bet an angry mob of 7 could still do
Wait, but Jake, you would have to be in your own mob.
Oh, right. Plot twist.
Jake angrily mobs himself. Huh. Alright, we're going to talk about next week, and we're going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games next week. Okay, well, I'm not going to talk about this game, but I will talk about this game. I'm making one sentence, and you won't get any sentences. This is my show. Tennessee is playing Alabama. Alabama, even though the property, like the transitive property of college football doesn't work, we will get to see Alabama and Oregon have played a same opponent. That's just a really quick thing. Now we're going to talk about a few games from next week. We're going to talk about number 10 Texas Tech playing 15 Oklahoma. Texas Tech 7-0. Oklahoma 3-1. Looking into this game, it is an interesting game, especially Oklahoma having a huge loss in the Red River rivalry as their only loss. I mean, who saw that one coming? Now, this is a very hard game to call. I do not know the current injury situation with Texas Tech. There has been some issues there, because they could have Baker Mayfield starting, or they could have Davis Webb starting. I'm not sure who is starting for this game. it's a little up in the air on that. Saying that, I still believe that Texas Tech can beat Oklahoma. I believe in this team. I believe in what they've done so far, and I think that they can win. Jake, who do you have in Texas Tech, Oklahoma?
Listen, I will admit that I have not seen a lot of Texas Tech, but from what I have seen from them, I've been completely convinced. I'm very surprised that they're undefeated at this point, and I think Oklahoma is going to win this game. I think Oklahoma losing in that game against Texas served as a wake-up call, and I'm expecting the Sooners to come through with a win on them.
Alright, disagreeing opinions, we will see what happens. See, the thing is with doing a Monday show, I feel kind of stupid for doing a Monday show now. And then we get to wait this whole long time just to see what happens. Probably not my best idea. Yeah, so that's happening. Alright, moving on. Clemson. Actually, I'm not talking about that game. Baylor. Not talking about that game. Miami. Still not talking about that game. Now we can talk. Newly minted number 25, Oregon State. According to Jeff Sagarin, number 6.
No, he's wrong.
Okay, according to one BCS computer ranking, number 6.
He's technically number 29.
Okay, according to the ELO ranking, he is number 6. Just let me say my poll, Jake. Stop trying to protect him.
He deserves protection, and you are firing shots at him.
I will fire shots at him. But, again. Alright. Now, can you imagine if they had beaten Eastern Washington? They'd be like number 3. Just throwing that out there. In pure ELO, they would be number 4.
Oh, pure ELO, yeah.
Just thinking about it, if they were number 6 with a loss, I mean, what could they be without it? Alright, now I will make my opinion. Oregon State may be on a roll, 6 straight wins, and Stanford is coming off a very emotional win over UCLA after dropping a game to Stanford. Against Utah. But Stanford needs this game if they want to stay in the Pac-12 North race. And I see them coming through with the win here. Sean Mannion may be a good quarterback, and he still may throw for a bunch. But I don't think they do what they have done against other teams. Oregon State is held within 20... Let's say they're held under 25 points. And I see Stanford pulling out the victory.
I do too. I'm smart enough to know at this point not to pick against Stanford.
Oh, didn't we learn our lesson?
Yes, we did.
Alright, moving on to another good game. Because South Carolina is now ranked 21st and Missouri's ranked 5th. Now, Jake, if I had told you back week 1 that South Carolina would be 21st ranked and 5-2 after losing to Tennessee, and Missouri would be 7-0 and ranked 5th, and that you would rank them 5th yourself, would you have believed it?
I would have slapped you in the face.
Well, I'm never gonna... Well, that kills my plan of teleporting back to that. Time traveling back there. Shoot. Too bad. Missouri is better than South Carolina. South Carolina's looked bad all year, and I think South Carolina will drop to 3-3 in SEC play in this game.
When it comes to South Carolina, they've been a little too inconsistent for my liking, to be quite honest with you.
You mean you're likering? But
Stop. You will stop. I'm going to, and I don't like doing this, I'm going to pick South Carolina.
Oh, I really disagree.
I don't want to.
This is the team you ranked 5th.
I don't, and I hope I'm wrong. I really don't want to be right on this one. But I feel like at some point, Florida was an easier test without your starting quarterback. Now, if it's different if Connor Shaw's not playing.
Connor Shaw's I believe Connor Shaw is actually out.
If Connor Shaw plays, South Carolina will win this game.
What if Dylan Thompson plays though? What if Dylan Thompson is their starter?
I don't think if South Carolina started for Dylan Thompson, I don't know. Then I have to pick Missouri because they haven't given me any reason.
All right. Well, we will see how that sorts out with the Connor Shaw situation. Connor Shaw came out late in the Tennessee game, and we were really not sure if he would be back, and we're still not exactly sure. But I should say it has been announced that he is doubtful for next week's game, and he has not been practicing. So just knowing that, do you want to change your pick?
Connor Shaw is doubtful,
and he was not practicing today.
I mean, no, I'm gonna have to actually stand by South Carolina.
Alrighty then, that's an interesting pick. Alright, now a pick that makes me a game that I'm gonna make you very happy. Penn State is 4-2. Ohio State is 7-0. I have picked basically every other team to upset Ohio State. They have yet to be upset. I'm going to pick Ohio State to beat Penn State. I'm assuming you pick the same. I'm assuming you're picking the same.
Absolutely.
All right. Then we move on to Florida. Actually, no. Okay, sorry. The problem is with ESPN, they move your favorite team up top, so they screw up the order, especially when Oregon's 3, not 2, and I can't just flip them down. Oregon, number 3, playing UCLA, number 12. UCLA coming off a heartbreaking loss to Stanford, where their offense could not get anywhere near going. Oregon coming off, well, whatever you want to call Connor Shaw throwing 89 passes for a record number of pass attempts. Connor Holiday, excuse me. Messing up my Connors. Also, we're going to get to the Nick Aliotti comments to Mike Leach later. Alright, I see Oregon winning this game. Oregon secondary is underrated, and they should have no issue taking care of Brent Hundley. I'm more worried about the running game coming through for UCLA, but I still see Oregon winning this game, just being able to put up more points.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Sorry, I wish there was a way around it, but I don't. The last time UCLA played against Oregon in Oregon, it was for the Pac-12 championship, and we were 6-6. And you know what? Made it closer than we thought. If UCLA can win the turnover battle by at least 2, they will have a chance. And if they win it by 3, they will win this game.
Ooh.
That's the only way.
Alright, what's your point spread on this, though?
My personal point spread on this?
Your personal point spread on this.
I would give Oregon 9.5 points.
9.5 points. So you think they'll win by 10?
I feel like that would be a fair line.
I've got to give you some respect. You're picking the team that once we get into college basketball season, I'm just assuming I'm going to do some random college basketball stuff. That's going to happen. But all right. There's one more game we have to talk. Actually, is there another game? I kind of talked about all the games. I have talked about a lot of college football now. We have talked about 63 minutes of college football. And there are a couple of things I still want to talk about in this kind of thing. But it is getting late. So we're gonna cut this show off at 75 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes into the show. We have 12 more minutes. We have 12 more minutes to finish off what we want to talk about. And I would like to first talk about the comments made by defensive coordinator Nick Aliotti towards head coach of Washington State, Mike Leach. Nick Aliotti has been at Oregon a very long time. These comments were made toward Mike Leach just after Mike Leach had his quarterback, Connor Holiday, throwing for a record number of passes, 89 attempts, as they were still way down in that game. What Nick Aliotti thought was low class was the quote, I believe. The quote is low class.
Would you like the full quote? Because I have it right in front of me.
Yes, I would like the full quote, because I did not have the full quote written down.
Okay. Would you like a G version or PG version?
We're all adults here, just kidding. Go PG.
Okay. It's total BS that he threw the ball at the end of the game like he did. Although he did not say BS, he said the whole thing. And when I say the word BS again, you can understand that he did say the whole thing. And you can print that and you can send it to him, and he can comment too. I think it's low class and it's BS to throw the ball when the game is completely over against our kids that are basically our scout team. That's wrong. Listen, I am not a fan of Mike Leach. I joined the club, Nick Aliotti, but you're gonna be upset that they tried hard. Shameful. Shameful. Are you kidding me?
And
stay out of it. You won. Shut up. Literally quit while you're ahead.
And Larry Scott agreed, as the Pac-12 commissioner, fined Nick Aliotti $5,000 for these comments.
Good. I'm sorry, you can't be upset for a guy for trying hard. There's at some point it's taking it too far.
But you gotta look at. I'm not defending him, but
it's different. Like when the Buccaneers tried to tackle the Giants when they took a kneel, that's different because that put people in danger.
But are you saying a young quarterback throwing 89 passes is not dangerous when he didn't need to?
His team was losing, and the experience helped in the long run.
89 though, that's a little excessive.
What was the Oregon Scout team gonna do to him? This isn't baseball.
All right, again, it was just a little. I'm not saying the comments were out of line, but there is the question of player safety that's always going around. In 89 passes, I mean, you look at 89 passes, and this is plus taking a huge beating. I mean, if you were having a college pitcher throw 89 pitches plus taking hits all day,
this is not baseball.
Yeah, but it's still an arm that the arm moving in a similar way. This is just asking for him to blow out his arm.
I've conceded arguments to you. Begrudgingly, I'm not on this one. I'm sorry. Sorry that your practice squad has to look bad, but teams are supposed to play football, and that's exactly what Washington State did, and I applaud them for that.
Alright, Jake and I have differing opinions on that stuff, but we have one thing we both agree on. We love the Capital One Mascot Challenge.
Oh, yes we do.
And as somewhat of a tradition.
Come out with are fantastic, by the way. Now it's getting advertised because we're getting into that late season.
Oh yeah, it's great. I should know, we have 7 minutes left, and if you really want to leave, I don't care, but we're gonna go look at the Capital One Mascot Challenge because we care about the Capital One Mascot Challenge here at College Football on Air.
We care about the Capital One Mascot Challenge, but we don't care if you listen.
It's true. Well, you already listened. You already clicked like. You already clicked watch, and now you're gonna go favorite the show.
You're already here. Don't go now. Listen. If anybody deserves your respect, it is Big Red. Have you seen the commercial with Big Red at the laundromat, and he hopped into like the laundry, and some guys.
Have you seen the one where Big Red is trying to get into the car, the NASCAR?
He's trying to get into NASCAR?
He's trying to get into a NASCAR. It's pretty hilarious. Alright. We should note that the Capital One Mascot Challenge is in no way affiliated with College Football on Air, and that College Football on Air and the statements and support of this do not support any views of Capital One.
Or condone. Or against. You can use whatever debit card you want. You know what? You can go around using checks for all we want. As long as we don't get fined, it's cool with us.
And now I'm just going to go take a look. This week, certain things are happening, but let's look at the standings. So far, at 7-0 and leading the Capital One Mascot Challenge, Rocky the Bull of USF. Did not see that one coming. Then you got Sparty of Michigan State, 6-1. I like him. Hokie Bird, 5-2, and also 5-2. Raider Red of Texas Tech. Petey the Pirate of East Carolina. Rocky the Rocket. That's creative. Of University of Toledo. As well as Monty, University of Montana. And my personal favorite, I'm going to go out and tell everybody, go vote for Big Red of Western Kentucky.
Big Red.
Best mascot ever.
I've gotten the pleasure to see him in person 2007 at the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, Arizona, when the UCLA Bruins took on the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, and he is even better in person.
That is awesome. I also would like to note, just for Jake, that the only team that is winless other than Cam the Ram is the Duck. Probably because they called him the Duck and not Puddles. He's currently down 93% to 7 to Monty of Montana.
Well, here's the thing. They actually have stuff to do in Oregon, and in Montana, they don't.
Also, he's in this every year, so people get kind of tired of it.
It's true.
He is. He's one of those veterans.
What happened to Sebastian the Ibis?
I don't know. What happened to Sebastian? Alright, here's what I'm going to go tell you. Everybody, you obviously want to be like, Big Red is in a pretty big battle this year. I mean, this week, as he is taking on the Hokie Bird of Virginia Tech. They are both 5-2. This is a big matchup for Big Red. And here at College Football, we are going to tell you, go vote for Big Red. He is someone you can really get behind.
I just voted twice for him. Now I voted 3 times. If you just keep clicking, by the way, it adds 1.
It's true.
Right now he leads 55 to 45.
And after we're done, it'll be closer to 60 to 40, because we're going to vote a bunch. Now, this has been a very interesting episode. And I'm closing it out by talking in random ways, because I promised 75 minutes. And now this is getting annoying. But it's 71:50. I have 3 minutes left.
I can talk for you.
No, but you can't. Jake, don't talk for me. Alright. What I'm going to do with my 3 minutes is go over the social stuff that I always talk about. Because those of you who joined now, probably none of you, didn't hear that. So, go like College Football on Air on Facebook. And just find the page. Go like National Sports on Facebook. Like National Sports on Twitter at National Sports 1. And I would like to copy Jake Liker in saying, for all you hipsters out there, go like our Instagram at national_sports. Finally, like me on Twitter at Carl_PM. That's our social stuff. Go like Spreaker on Facebook, because without them, we really couldn't do any of this. Go like all our other shows. Watch our other shows. We have some other good shows. I know how shocked you guys are that there are guys that are almost as talented as us. But it's true. A personal favorite of mine, Blake and Noah, LA to Chicago. A show that is frequently visited by Jake Liker. It's another very strong show on this. I'm just looking at our viewership because that's what I do. We currently have 6 viewers. Congratulations to all 6 live viewers right now for listening to us live. And leave a comment. If you have a comment to leave us that comment and we will answer that question now. And I will even go over 75 minutes if you ask in the next, 30 seconds. But that's just one. This is just one of our great shows. You also got Blake and Noah, LA Chicago. We talked about Rookies Roundup. Also, Chris Sylvester does St. John Bosco football games. There are endless great shows. Jason's sports show. Jason Gareline is one of the most intelligent baseball guys I know, and he does a great job on that show. You also have...
May I say something in honor of Jason?
You may.
Well, Jason has become notorious for his burning hatred of Qualcomm Stadium. And I'm about to post this on his Facebook page because I think he'll appreciate it. I was reading this article in Bleacher Report about the worst stadiums, and Qualcomm came up. This is what they said about Qualcomm. San Diego is a wonderful city with stunning beaches and beautiful women, but its football stadium is a graceless concrete middle finger for the eyes. Qualcomm looks like an alien mothership that would lose in a fight to a Ford F-350. It's huge, but it has no heart. End quote. You know what, Bleacher Report? You hit it right on the head. I have been there. You drove from LA to San Diego with traffic it took us longer in the final five, what should have been 5 minute stretch, because it's so hard to get into.
Jake, we are now at 74:50. I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. Our last note of the night: Jason Garreline is awesome. Chargers, the Qualcomm Stadium is terrible. And good night.